And welcome back to the OHIO podcast, everybody. And I am joined by my special guest. You all know him as Billy Bob from Billy Bob's Backyard Barbecue. I've known Billy Bob now for several years. I guess going on year number 5 now. And
Probably. Yeah.
yeah, and become a good friend of mine. And he is an official member, as you see there at the t-shirt,
There we
official
go.
member of the OHIO podcast. And this is something, Billy Bob, we're going to be doing more often of. We're going to be interviewing the lunatic fringe, as I say, getting to know the lunatic fringe. We are what some would say, the 1% of Ohio State fans who eat, breathe, and sleep this stuff year round. It's who we are. We love it. Um, Now, without the lunatic fringe that Kurt Herbstreit was talking about with the and Ryan Day's poor wife Nina had to deal with, but we are the fan base that keeps this thing going. We buy all the merchandise, we go to the games, you know, season tickets, etc. So
Yep.
that being said, Billy Bob, who are you? Introduce yourself. Tell everybody what you do, man.
Who am I?
Who are you?
Who are you? Are you like the who? Who are you? Man, I'm just a guy. I am uh I'm a guy, I'm a fan, I'm a regular guy. I drink which some people don't care for, but that's okay. I drink Billy Bob Bud Light just right. Ooh, there we go. I drink some IPAs. Um, I guess I shouldn't be defined by what beer. There you go. The world famous Billy Bob's Backyard can't burlap koozie, but I shouldn't be defined by what beer I drink. But oh man, I'm an Ohio guy. Grew up about 25 miles west of Cleveland in Grafton, Ohio. For those of you who don't know where Grafton is, it's Grafton, Elyria. It's south of Lorraine. Um, and my father went to Ohio State, and because people always ask me, "What's your tie to Ohio State?" Right, Billy Bob?
Mhm.
Are you? Did you go there? No, I didn't. I didn't go to college. Actually, I did. I went to community college, and I couldn't make it because when I was in high school, I paid attention in class. I got A's and B's on my tests, but I didn't do my homework. And when you go to college and they say, oh, on a Tuesday, they go, well, I need you to read 300 pages for our class on Thursday. I'm like, what? What? 300 pages? I haven't read 300 pages in 3 years. So, so, but, I mean, I've been going to Ohio State games for, my God, the early 70s, um, 19, 1974. Went to the Ohio State M game, the 13-10 game, 12-10 game, 12-10 game, 12-10. Claben made 4 field goals. Lantry missed the field goal in the open end of the shoe. Larry Bolden, who was at that time from Cleveland East Tech and a point guard for the Buckeyes, which we knew, Larry. And he took us around and we met all kinds of players, Bonamici and Colsey and Pete Johnson, and got to be friends with Pete. And we worked together years later in Miami. And so that's kind of, and then, you watch the games on ABC Wide World of Sports, right, in black and white. Some people don't know what black and white is, but, we watch the games in black and white. So, but um, I've been in Florida 38 years. Uh, and have endured being a Buckeye in Florida. We have a lot of Buckeyes in Florida, but as we go through this conversation, we'll talk about what you endure by being a Buckeye in Florida, and some interesting things just recently that I experienced that I didn't expect. But we'll talk about that. Um, what else, Eric? I mean, Billy Bob. How do I get Billy Bob? A lot of people know it's not my real name. But when I would go to a restaurant, people, you want to be on the list, you get in line, you're on the list, and people would say, "What's your name?" "Oh, it's Billy Bob." And then eventually, my wife, Mrs. Billy Bob, who I don't know if she favors that name or not, but she's got it. She said, "What are you going to do when you retire? When you get close to retiring?" And I go, "I don't know. Maybe I'll do some videos." And so started out. She's in the house one day, and I'm in the pool, and I started doing some videos. Maybe I had one too many Billy Bob Bud Light just rights, and I just said I call it Billy Bob's Backyard Barbecue, and at some point maybe I modify it to Billy. I have actually on some stuff Billy Bob's Backyard because some people are like, "Do you cook?" Well, yeah, I cook. "Do you grill? Is this a grilling show?" No, it's not. I talk a lot, and you know that, Bogsy. I talk a lot. And what do you talk about? I talk about sports, the Buckeyes a lot. Some people don't care for that. That's okay. Um, Politics. Some people don't care for that either. But music, history, anything. You talk about your family, your friends, and that's what people do in the backyard barbecue, right? Or the
Right.
backyard. So that's how it all evolved. And that's
Yeah.
that's a little bit, I guess I could probably talk about myself all day, but nobody want to hear that. So,
So you do run the Billy Bob's Backyard Barbecue Facebook page, and you have a quite the extensive community that you've built over the last 5 years of doing that. That's kind of how you and I came in touch with each other. Uh,
yep,
I've been on several of your videos where you've asked me to come on and talk about Buckeyes or college football,
exactly.
etc. Chris has done the same. So for anybody who doesn't know what the backyard is, you kind of explain it. It's you talking about sports, politics, your family, etc. Things that people talk about in the backyard, like you said. Um, Maybe tell everybody how they could find that because it really is an interesting community. A lot of us are part of Buckeye communities, right? A lot of people who are going to be watching this video are a part of our community at the OHIO podcast and other Ohio State communities. But I'll be honest, sometimes it's good to get away and I hang out at the backyard and see a lot of the funny stuff you post and some of the comments people make and it's good for me sometimes to kind of unplug myself from this podcast. And when I do, I find myself a lot of times plugging myself into your backyard.
Well, I appreciate that, Bogsy. And one of the things, interestingly enough, I got to say this before I go into what is where to find me and all that. Is typically I do my stuff on my iPhone, and that camera it I see myself, which I see myself here, but my head, I keep looking in this camera, and whatever reason, my head's at the cocked at one angle or another, and I'm trying to straighten my head out, and I can't get it straight. I'm like, so for all you folks out there, my apologies. My head's like I'm like a bobblehead, but so you can find me at. I have a couple different sites on Facebook. Billy Bob's Backyard Barbecue, and that has videos and posts and all kinds of stuff. And then I have Billy Bob's Backyard All Access, and the All Access is like 95% videos. There are a few people every once in a while that they want to post something and they post it and it gets in there, and that's okay. But it's primarily videos. So if you want to scrape away all the clutter, if you don't like the posts that I share or posts I make, then you could just go to the videos. And then it's also YouTube. I do post on YouTube and TikTok. Um, I need to figure that, and you and I need to talk one time about X, Bogsy. But I do on X, but I haven't joined any of the premiums and all that per month. So I'm limited to the minute or 2 minutes and 20 seconds. And
That would be extremely hard for you.
well, it is. In fact, I take a video and I just yes, it would. Interestingly enough, when I started doing this, people said, 5-minute video is like a little too long for people. You need to really try and get it down to a couple. And I'm like, I tried, but I can't get my point across. And and then somebody said, "What do you do?" I said, "Well, I do a podcast." And podcasts a lot of times are an hour, hour and a half. I do an 18-minute video, and they go, "It's a little long, Billy Bob," and I'm like, "What the hell's wrong with you? You're listening to an hour long, and you can't freaking listen to me for 18 minutes? Come on, man. I am if I had to ask myself, am I interesting? I would say yes. I don't know about anybody else, but I'd have to say yes.
So if you're already not a member of the Backyard Barbecue, go check that out on
And
Facebook.
my
Go be a
face is
member.
getting red as can be. And quite honestly, it's not like I've been drinking beer all day because I have to give, I have to do some different things during the day that now it's just this room, Bugs. It's
Is
maybe
that what's going on?
I don't know. I don't want to go topless. I want to keep the brand out there. So I don't think anybody wants to see me go topless.
I have seen you in your pool before, so
And speedos, topless. Neither one of us want to be
no,
famous for
no,
that.
exactly. All right, so let's talk Buckeyes now, since this is a
Okay, this is a
so we
Buckeye show.
yeah. So let's talk Buckeyes. So um, the national championship, Billy Bob, were you as surprised as I was as we got rolling in this thing? How much different this team was in the playoffs?
Well, I what did Chevy Chase say in Christmas Vacation? Surprised, Eddie? I don't think I'd be any more surprised if I woke up and my head was sewn to the floor. Right? Mean, the biggest consternation, the biggest concern was okay after the M game, and we got 3 weeks or 2.5 weeks, whatever it is, and you don't hear anything, right? It's kind of silent, nothing out of the woody, a lot of talk. Everybody's speculating what's going to happen, but nobody knows. And then the Tennessee game happens, and they just you're like, holy crapola!
Completely different team.
And we beat an SEC team.
Yeah.
Not only did we win big, we beat an SEC team, which is huge down here because I get I get a lot of crap. So and then we go to Oregon and figure, okay, we can beat Oregon. It's going to be a tight game. We can beat them. 34-7. Was it 34-7 at the half? Is that what it was?
I mean, we jumped out on them 31-0.
31 nothing,
Yeah,
right?
and then they
And
then they
then
scored 8, so it's 31-8, I think it was at
31-8,
halftime.
and then they get the ball first in the second half in that game, I think.
Mhm.
And so, well, that was the thing in the Tennessee game. They Tennessee got the ball first, second half, and we're like, okay, but we held them, and then we went down and scored. And yeah, I mean, it was amazing. A lot of pride. It's um, it's hard to imagine what these players. Some people said so. The guys were playing angry, but angry because of the loss. But some people were saying angry because of the fans.
Yeah,
Like you're
yeah.
saying that 5% or 10%. And I know there's a lot of people that dislike Herbie, but Herbie's got a job to do, and we don't like it because, and maybe he goes to the extreme to try and be fair. And he called. I agreed with him on some of the lunatic fringe because the lunatic fringe are the people that are just freaking. I mean,
Well, we've taken that, we've applied that to our fan base here at the OHO podcast. So I kind of I
well, I
marketed
mean,
that.
but there's lunatics and there's a lunatic. The lunatic fringe is the people that are, and I did a video on this about the people that are saying Fielding and Howard blew through that game for money. The team threw that game because of this and that, and the M game. And I mean, how can you can't be real.
No.
It just can't be real.
No.
And that Ryan Day didn't want to win the game. I mean, look, people, a lot of things about Ryan Day. I like the guy. I know Chris has a love hate relationship with him.
Yeah, he does.
Um,
He's currently on the love train, but
yeah,
it's like Chris feels. I think Chris is kind of looking at it like an abusive relationship. Like, you haven't beat me this week, so I'm loving you at the moment, but I've got one eye on you here that you're gonna break my heart again. So, you opened up about Ryan Day. That was my next question. What were your thoughts about Ryan Day immediately after the loss to the team up north? And what are your thoughts about Ryan Day now? And have they changed?
no, they haven't changed. What changed? I try and separate the man from the the game, and what I mean by that is, okay, coaching. There was obviously coaching mistakes in that game, right? The defense obviously played great. Um, the offense didn't. I'm not a believer that when Ryan Day has a play sheet in his hand that he's automatically calling the plays. But a lot of people believe that. I don't. Does he have input? Yeah, and he should. He's the head coach. I mean, he's the CEO. Now, what's the CEO responsible for?
Everything.
Every freaking thing that happens on that field, right? The
Hmm.
offense, the defense. Now, but he puts department heads, we call them coordinators in football, involved in that. And so, did they make some mistakes? Egregious mistakes, without a doubt. Did I think he's a bad guy? Did I think he's the guy I want fired? No. Um, did Ryan Day do an unbelievable job? Actually, I think going through the playoffs and that, it enhanced my. I wasn't never against him, and I never thought he was Cooper. And I talked about that at one time, and I lived through the Cooper era too.
Hmm.
Um, and so I just didn't. I'm not that way. Okay, I know there's all kinds of people that go, we're as fans we can be critical. We're not cheerleaders. I'm not a cheerleader. I'm not a fan, but I'm not a big negative person. And I'm not saying people that are critical of them are negative. I just An example would be, I like to sometimes sit at home and watch a game by myself. And I don't want people texting me on a play that they don't agree with, or you know, oh my god, we ran 3 screen passes and my head's exploding. That ain't me. It's just not. So I was so happy for Ryan Day. I was talking to my brother Foxy Bob today, and I did not realize that it was 20 years ago to the day when they won the national championship. 20 years ago to the day that his dad had committed suicide.
Yeah, how about that?
Um, it's and then I think you guys might have shared something about it, but I shared the comments about from RJ about what his family went through after the M game, and I couldn't be happier for the guy. I mean, the weight of the world is off his shoulders. Could he lose the first game of the year next year? Very likely,
Yeah,
right?
it's not going to be an easy
New
game.
new quarterback, new defensive coordinator. Apparently, we just learned here in the
Yep.
last half hour. I'm not sure why, other than talking to my wife. She's like, "Well, maybe he's a builder." And that Knowles is a builder. He likes to build things. I mean, he was at Oklahoma State 3 years. He built a great defense. He came to Ohio State, built a great defense, because he's not going to Penn State for a lot more money.
No.
At least the reportings, we don't know, but he's not apparently. Um, And then there's the reports out there that the NFL teams want Chip. I don't know if Chip wants the NFL. Who knows? Um, but with success comes its own challenges. You
Right.
you celebrate now. As fans, we could celebrate for the whole year. I heard you say this.
And
We
we
could
are.
celebrate the whole year. I think you were talking to your brother Aaron
Yeah.
when you said that, um, which was a really good interview. I
Thank you.
still got to listen to the last like 10 minutes, the pricing and all that, but the export mouthpieces
Hmm.
and it was really good. And it's for people that have not listened to that or watched that, you got to go back and I don't know, maybe sometime we'll get Aaron on in the backyard barbecue to talk about it too. And
Sure, he'd
you
love to
know,
come on for it. Yeah.
because it is very interesting.
It
But
is
so
incredibly interesting.
I digress. But we're going to celebrate all year. But Brian Day, his celebration's probably done. He's losing
Well, yeah,
Knowles.
it's
Maybe
back to the real world for him. I mean, he's got to
now
pick a defensive coordinator, and he's got to
maybe an OC. I
maybe
mean,
an
although
offensive coordinator. And although
Chip,
if that happens, I think he's all. I think if you want my honest opinion, I think both those guys are already in house.
both the new OC and the new DC.
The new DC and maybe the new OC if Chip leaves.
Yeah.
Hmm.
So, do you have a speculate? Who are you speculating
I'm
on the new
speculating
DC?
that Guerreri, the safeties coach,
Matt, is it Matt
Matt
Guerreri?
Guerreri, will be the new defensive coordinator. Of course, we're recording this at 4 o'clock on Sunday. So if you're watching this when we post this either Monday or Tuesday when this gets posted, um, we might already know the answer to this. But Ryan Day's comments about him when he introduced thanked the assistant coaches for the season. He heaped so much praise on that young man, and it was like, why is he talking like that? Like, and now and here a few hours later, as we record this, I'm like, oh, that's why. Okay, I
Yeah,
think,
maybe.
yeah, I think he was
And did
foreshadowing a little bit of what's gonna come out with that
Guerreri coach under Knowles, or was
at
Knowles
Duke. Hmm.
at Duke? Okay,
Yeah, and
I knew there.
he was the defensive coordinator. He was the co-defensive coordinator at Indiana and called plays there. So he's the only one in house on the defensive side of the ball who's called a defense.
So I got a
Even
question for you. I
even
got a
Larry
question
Johnson
for you.
hasn't.
Go
Yeah,
ahead. I got a question for you on the defense.
sure.
What about Iggy? Do you like Iggy coming back, or do you or
I
were you,
love Iggy coming back, and I love him even more if he replaces Lathan Ransom at the safety position.
so that would be a though? There's a good one. I like that they move him
Yeah,
and
that's
take
the
his
rumor.
aggressiveness
The
and move him to safety.
Yes, the rumor is that they might consider moving him now because he'd have to have all season to get ready for it. Moving him to where Lathan Ransom was because of his physicality and ability to tackle,
And then you put Scott or West on that side and Jermaine Matthews on the other side, right?
or the freshman who just came in, who's apparently really really good.
Is that
Um,
Sanchez or
yes,
is Devin Sanchez?
yeah, Devin Sanchez. So there is a lot of potential there. So that's kind of what I'm hearing. But um, on the offensive side of things, um, Kevin Wilson has been back with the program ever since he got fired from Tulsa.
Okay.
There's there's some familiarity with him and Ryan Day, I think.
So there's a
And
little backfill, direct, some, yeah,
that's if he's needed. I'm
if.
not saying I don't know if Chip is gonna again as this gets posted in a day or two, things might change. Um, so thank you for sharing your thoughts on Ryan Day. Um, I want to talk about you know the last three championships. So 02, 14, 24. Three different coaches. What do you think that says that you've won three championships in three different decades under three different coaches? What's that say about Ohio State, in your opinion?
Longevity. Um, I can't say continuity because it's three different coaches,
Yeah,
right?
right.
Longevity, stayability. I mean,
And three different athletic directors. That just dawned on me. Andy Geiger,
Andy Geiger.
Gene Smith, and now Ross Bjork.
Yeah, and the Bjork. So as fans would say, well, Ross Bjork won with Gene Smith's coaches, right? Just I mean, Ryan Day run with won with Urban's guys, and Urban won with
Yeah,
Tressel's guys, and
yeah.
I always think that's so much BS because I remember, and I'll digress just a quick minute. Um, Gruden won Super Bowl with the Buccaneers, and they go, "Oh, he won with Tony's guys," but Tony didn't win with Tony's guys. I mean, he
Right,
won, but he didn't win a Super Bowl.
right. That's a good point.
So Gruden won a Super Bowl. And then Tony went and won a Super Bowl with the Colts. Okay, but anyway, what's it say? First of all, this is what I will say is that my brother and sister and I were at the O2 Championship in Tempe, and it was awesome. I had lived in Miami for 15 years, so I was a big Hurricane fan too. Obviously Buckeye first, and we sat in the upper deck on the aisle, and right across the aisle was a whole Hurricane section. So, and by the way, if that game would have been played today, it would have never ended the way it ended because Gamble caught a ball on third down on the sideline, and they called him out of bounds and called incomplete, out of bounds, and the replay showed he was in bounds. We did not have replay then.
That's right.
Also showed that he was held, his jersey was outstretched, and if that would happen, we get a first down. Roscoe Parrish never returns that punt. He didn't return it all the way, but it was a hell of a punt return, which might put Miami in a position to score and tie the game. That said, um, 14 completely different format. The first four-team playoff. Um, Zeke. One thing that was pretty synonymous in all three of those is we had great running backs, right? We had Maurice in '02, we had Zeke in 14, and you got the duo of Travion and Judkins. So the best passing team of all three was this year.
And what's funny, you just brought that up. I guess I wasn't thinking about the running backs. All three quarterbacks on those national championship teams, I think they're not the first name that you think of when you think about all-time great quarterbacks at Ohio State. That's for sure, right? It's not C.J. Stroud. It's not Art Schlichter. It's not Dwayne Haskins. It's not Justin Fields. It's kind of the
Yep.
the quarterback's not necessarily the star of the team.
And the most talented of the three, or versatile of the three, was Will Howard.
I think so.
I mean,
Although it's hard to argue against Cardale in that run he had. I mean,
well, yes,
but
agreed.
but I digress. I think you're right. Will Howard definitely out of those three is probably going to have the most successful NFL career, more than likely.
Yeah, and I'm not sure. I think Will. I don't know what he's going to be in the NFL. Is he going to be a starter or is he going to be a
I
well-paid
I really
backup?
think it
Or
depends on the team he goes to. I think if he goes to a real good team where he sits and is like, hey, we just want you to be the backup, and then all of a sudden that quarterback goes down, a la the Patriots when Bledsoe went down and Brady steps in, or Pittsburgh, before Ben Roethlisberger was interjected into that starting lineup. I think a team like that, Will Howard will thrive in. But if he's drafted to a really bad franchise and expected to be a franchise quarterback, I think that's probably not the best place for him. I think he's a great game manager. And
well,
Ryan Day says IQ wise, he's one of the smartest quarterbacks he's ever coached.
here's a good thing, Bugsy. He's not going to be a first top
Right.
10
He's
pick,
not.
so he's not going to go to a bad necessarily go to a bad team, right? Somebody take. I would say
God, I
he's.
hope he don't go to Cleveland.
You know what? I love Will, but I don't want him going to Cleveland. Um, I think he's somewhere between a fourth and a sixth round pick. That's just my thought.
I saw third round on a mock today.
Really?
I did.
All right, we talk about mocks. What do they say about Milrow? Where do they
Jalen
mock him?
Milrow,
Yeah.
late first, early second.
Come on. Come
Yeah,
on, man. I mean, I'm not anti-Alabama, and I think Jalen Milrow is a hell of a talent. Is he a quarterback in my opinion? No. And a first round quarterback, I think Jalen Milrow would be a great tight end. That's my opinion. He would be a great tight end in the NFL.
he's got
I
he's
don't
got
know.
arm talent. He's big. He's fast.
But
It's
his arm. So okay, who's the guy? Joe Milton. He's got great arm talent too, right?
yeah,
You
right.
keep, but you don't hit the guy. You got to be able to. You
You
got to
have
be
to
able to throw it to the guy.
right,
I
right.
can. Hey, some guys can. Apparently, we've got a punter that McGlarty can kick it 70 yards.
We wouldn't
That didn't
know.
he, we didn't use him at all. You know, if you're at your own 10, if the guy was consistent, they'd be using him to boom a 70 yarder, right? To
Yeah,
change,
he's
flip the
he's
field,
he's
but he didn't
obviously
play.
not all that, right?
Right. So that's just, oh man. Hey, I got a shirt here. I got to show you, Bugsy. I don't know if you can see it. Oh, there we
Losing
go.
is not an option. Nice.
So this shirt is my let me screw it, we won't hang it up, we'll just drop it. That has been my, during the playoff run and actually some big games, that is my go-to. I start out, I don't know how many people out there's got to be more than me. Look, I don't change my underwear during a game, but I change my shirts, and it's actually a family thing. The kids are like, did Billy Bob change his shirt? He or texting, Billy Bob needs to change his t-shirt. So I'm like, you got to get the shirt. I'm
Well,
changing, and
yeah.
especially even in the
When
Notre Dame game,
yeah,
Texas Notre
when
Dame.
we were running through the playoffs, I was wearing that white. I don't have it on my desk here. I was wearing that white OSU hat, the college hat from like the
Right.
90s, and I changed it to red when we were wearing our Scarlet jerseys, and we weren't doing so hot. And they're like, "Hey, Eric, change it back to the white hat." So I did. We started winning again. So there's something to that, I think. Superstitious like
Speaking of
that.
Scarlet, I know the grays. I like the grays are a nice uniform, the
Oh, you
all
talking about the
grays, the
alternate
mono grays,
jerseys? Yeah.
but the mono reds are like, that is that's just it. I mean, if we're not wearing traditional, those mono reds,
You like the old Reds, huh?
that's bad. That's bad.
Uh,
Bad good.
yeah. Um, yeah, no, I hear you, man. I hear you. Okay, so um, rank this. Try to rank this for me. This national championship run historically. Where does it rate in your mind as far as national championship seasons? Is it the greatest you've ever seen? Second greatest? Third greatest? Not even close? Like, what do you think of this national championship run? I
Well,
know it's tough.
not even close would not be one of the answers, Bogsy. Okay, what does Dr. Corey call it? What is it when it's the most current and it's what's
Oh,
that term?
relative bias, recency
Relative,
bias,
yeah,
recency bias. Yeah,
recently bias or recent bias.
yeah.
So you could say that, but of the three, now 1968, I was only 11. Um, that said, I remember Rex Kern and Stillwagon and all those guys, Jim Otis, but not really. I mean,
Right.
that's a long time ago, so I couldn't rate that. And each has its own significance and own degree of importance. But I think so. You take 2002, we weren't supposed to win that, right? Miami
Right.
was, and that's what concerned me about Notre Dame. You know, they were resilient, they were the
You and me both.
underdogs, but they were winning when they shouldn't be winning and pulling them out. And so that was an awesome. game. And I would say that was great. And then you got 2014 and we beat Bama in the semis. And I'll tell you, I teared up because it was like, I don't know how much weight of the world was off of the Buckeyes, but living in South Florida and in the South, the weight of the world of beating the SEC in a big game, it was, I mean, it was unbelievable. But I'll have to use the recency bias and say that there's this despair of losing to the Stinkerines and uh, and then going on an unbelievable 4-game run and to see the players, their desire and the, the brotherhood. I know maybe that's an over exaggerated term, but and the and I don't go to church on Sunday. Do I believe in God? Yes. I know you go to church on Sundays. I believe in God. I don't pray as much as I should and all that, but I watch these guys and the faith they're faith in God, but then they have that faith in each other.
Hmm.
And there was just something special about, and I love to listen to Tim Walton. What did he? It's his Thursday talk. Is that what it is?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And he kind of rhymes stuff up, and I watched I watched Tim Walton, and I watched the players, right? Watch the guys listening to him and how they respond to him, and there was just something special that I don't think any of us knew. And I don't think the players cared if we knew or wanted us to know. But Ryan Day kind of alluded to it. We got here, and there's now the story can be told. Now, it still hasn't, I don't know if it's still been told, but maybe more to come. Um, and Jack had his one more, what was it? One more forever,
One more, one more, and then forever. Yeah.
then forever. And I don't know. So I would have to say, Bogsy, I would have to say this team, for all those reasons that I just talked about, would be. And again, we got to defeat the SEC. We defeated, I mean, two SEC teams, right? Two SEC teams, Tennessee and Texas. We forget sometimes Texas is in the SEC,
Yeah.
and you know, I don't know. So interestingly enough, if I can expound on that just for a minute, it's a slightly off, but I was wearing all week, obviously. Well, almost every day I wear Ohio State stuff. Um, Not at work, although I have under my Ace Ace hardware vest. I had some Ohio State stuff while during the playoffs, but uh, there's people down here that don't like Ryan Day, and I'm like, you don't like Ryan Day? Oh no, I don't like him. Like, what don't you like about him? Oh, he's just not likable. What do you mean? Well, he's phony. Phony how? Well, he just the way he acts. And I'm like, wow. Who would have said if Ryan Day wouldn't, if we would have not won the championship? Are there people that would have said Ryan Day is a phony or appeared? He seems to be to me the most genuine guy there is, and ironically, I think some people think he's a phony because he's doing what we wanted him. We wanted to see more emotion out of him.
Hmm.
We wanted to, was there any more? Did you ever see in the 6 years of Ryan Day any more emotion than these 4 games?
No.
I mean,
I mean the Georgia game, but
well, other than that one,
yeah, but that
but
was one
running down
game.
the sidelines. I mean, and one of the funny one was Sawyer, which he's running down the sidelines. And he gets about 2/3 of the way down, and then he all kind of stops and he looks back like, are there any penalties? Right? Are there any
Yeah.
penalty flags? So go ahead.
Yeah. No, I agree with you 100%. Couple more questions here.
Okay.
Um, thinking about this, and one of the reasons why I wanted to do all these interviews with the members of our page and fans of Ohio State this summer, this off season. I said summer,
And I
um,
appreciate it.
this off season. And yeah, you're batting leadoff. You're doing a great job. You're on base, buddy. That's all we ask from leadoff
Okay.
man. Take some
I'm going to
pitches, get
steal
on base.
second in my,
Oh, Kenny
and you're
Lofton
the
here,
catcher. You're the catcher. You ain't going to get me, Bugsy.
Billy Bob Lofton.
Yeah. Well, yeah.
um, when you think back on this season, let's say 10 years down the road, whatever. And so it's 2035. Oh gosh, can you, and President Elon Musk is having all of us drive Teslas.
Oh my God. You. Well, we
Which
got JD for 8.
well, yeah,
So
yeah, I
JD
know
might be a
that ain't
guy.
gonna happen. He's not a natural born citizen, so that can't happen. But um I digress. 10 years down the road, and you think back on the 2024 national championship season, what's the one thing that's going to, like, that you're going to cling to and you say, remember when? Like, for me, when I think back on 2002, all these years later, the first thing that comes to my mind is Holy Buckeye, right? And then this team that just kept winning and shouldn't have won, but they did.
Right.
I think of Jim Tressel when he first gets hired the year before at the basketball game and says in 300 and some odd days you're going to be proud of our players in the classroom, the community, and up in Ann Arbor. Those are the things I think of about that national championship team. What are you going to think about on this national championship team?
Hmm, it's interesting. That's a question, actually, somewhat similarly. I was listening to Chris Plank and Bobby Carpenter yesterday on Sirius, and Carpenter was reflecting back on, big plays and that. And so it's a great question, Bogsy. I probably think back on Ryan Day and the trials and tribulations and how happy I am for him. I think obviously we think about the scoop with the strip and scoop
Yeah.
with Sawyer, and I got to tell you, and the adversity they overcame throughout the year. Now, over adversity really wasn't the Oregon game. They lose by 1, right? On the road. That's not. They overcome that. They made changes. They changed the defense the way it was, but overcoming the adversity of the blue, which nobody expected them to lose. Obviously, we're 23-point favorites. But I got to tell you, one thing that sticks in my mind, and I smile every time I watch it, is that screen pass to Travion in the Texas game. And there's the wedge, right? Which, the 3 offensive linemen are out there, which if the ball wasn't behind the line of scrimmage, they'd be called for ineligible man downfield. But when Travion Henderson saw that opening and he blew through that hole, every time I watch it, I'm like amazed and I just got to smile. How fast that guy, how fast Travion is. He's like picking him up. And I mean, I think maybe you guys said it or somebody said it. He destroyed the angle. The guy was taking an angle and he blew the guy away. And by the way, Travion, I didn't know this stat until maybe yesterday or day before. Never lost a fumble in his 4-year career. Only
Wow.
only actually fumbled the ball twice in his 4-year career. One time, one of the offensive linemen recovered it, and one I think it was Thayer Munson, and one time he recovered it. He never lost the fumble in 4 years in like
I didn't know that.
900 carries.
I did not know that.
I didn't
Wow.
either. And one thing, I guess there's multiple things to remember, Bugsy. You have to remember Jeremiah Smith. You have to remember Igbuka. Just I don't know. There, you remember the guys, the individuals, the the sacrifice, and they came back. They had a mission. We thought it failed, and they completed their mission. So I don't know.
Hmm. It's a good way to put it.
Yeah. By the way, did C. Grant sing the Carmen, Ohio today? No,
No, no,
was no.
they had everybody sing it as the band played it.
Okay,
Yeah, band was there, did a great job.
all right.
Um, yeah, that's really good. Before I ask my last question, just want to remind everybody again, if you've enjoyed this interview, you can get Billy Bob and his thoughts every single day.
With sometimes with the red cheeks and sometimes without.
Some of my favorite stuff is just the random in the backyard by the pool, and there'll be things in your backyard. You show them,
Like
or
gators,
yeah, yeah,
you know,
birds, and
birds.
I always enjoy when the hurricanes come and getting the updates from Billy Bob on what's going on with the
Doing
hurricanes.
my Jim Cantori.
Good
Oh my
stuff,
god!
good stuff.
I appreciate that, Bugs. Hey, everybody needs a good hurricane video once in a while.
Yeah, yeah. So if you're not following him on Facebook and you have Facebook, go check that out. He does have a YouTube channel as well, Billy Bob's Backyard Barbecue. Look that up on YouTube. Um, and give the guy some support. He's been a huge supporter of mine, and I really do appreciate that. And I always enjoy getting on talking football with you before you do the Saturday morning thing, and when I'm available, you've had me on, and
Yep.
it's a lot of
No,
fun.
I appreciate that, Bogsy. Back at you and Chris, and I love to do a little Facebook Live because I can get the interaction. I could do a
Yeah.
video and I could say, "What do you think?" Right? What do you think? But then they're gonna just comment. But the interaction, and someday I'll figure this whole EV Mux thing out. I'm like, sometimes I'm a little, I don't know,
Well,
intellectually lazy,
well, a
maybe.
lot of people on my channel they know Larry Daniels, of
Yep,
course, and you went to high
LD,
school. You went to high school with Larry.
we did.
Yeah, and you called him Acoustic Larry. That's how I met Larry, was through you.
So
So,
acoustic Larry, I call him acoustic Larry because he plays acoustic guitar. Oh, I thought maybe Larry was in this picture, but he's not.
oh wow, look at that. Which one are you?
The guy with the pork chop sideburns,
Nice.
number 66. But I was actually number 85. But where am I? There
There
you
you
go.
go. Yeah.
Yeah, I
Man, how
played. I,
short
I was a guard that played tight end
how
because we didn't
how
throw
sh-
the ball much.
how short were them shorts, Billy Bob? My
Oh well, they
gosh.
they weren't nut crunchers. They were kind of loose. They weren't bad, you know.
No wonder you got a pretty wife. My goodness, Larry. Billy Bob. Was Larry on that team? Did Larry play football
Larry
with you
was.
guys?
Larry was number 32. He was a fullback and a linebacker. And
Ah,
we
listen to
both
that.
wore the horse collars.
Did you?
They
There
had
you
the
go.
old round horse collars back in the day. Yeah.
Oh gosh, that's hilarious. All right, last question, man. I am going to ask. This is going to be the last question I ask every guest that I do in this series of interviews. It's the
Would I
last
would I-
question.
would I get blackballed for wearing this hat?
No, you'll be fine.
No.
I'm thinking about creating a kind of a similar hat for us, and I'm make podcasting great again.
There you go.
But
Yeah.
uh, last question. I want you to, and you're gonna have two answers for me. The first one is just a word. I want you to pick a word, and then you can expound upon it. But what does it mean to you to be a Buckeye? In a
Ah.
word, and then expound upon it.
Um. God, I had a word right there. Proud. I'm proud to be a Buckeye. I'm proud of. I'm proud of Buckeye Nation. I'm proud to root for a team that I think emulates um, winning and God, gosh, the desire to win, the desire to succeed, the desire to be the best, right? But pride and pride that I can go anywhere. I was going to say anywhere in the country. I can go anywhere in the world, wear an Ohio State, some type of Ohio State attire, and I get an OH or a Go Bucks, and to have that family, that kind of, I don't know. I was going to say brotherhood, but not brotherhood. It's just, oh man, you got me with. Look at you. You got me with without a lot of words, and that takes a lot, Bogsy. Um, Pride would have to be the number one word, and proud to be a Buckeye. You know, we always say win or lose, Buckeye for life, and that's what I am. And I think it's more important almost to wear your colors when you lose than when you win, because I think it takes that pride to go out there and say, because you know you're going to get crap.
Hmm.
Probably not as much in Ohio as I get down here. You're going to get crap, and I got enough pride that I'm going to wear it, and I'll take the heat, um, and we'll move forward.
Yeah,
I don't
great
know if
answer.
that's. I don't know.
That's a
That's
that's
what
a
it
great answer.
that's what it means to me to be a Buckeye.
Well, folks, you know what to do, man. Smash that like button. Give Billy Bob, myself, a positive comment down in the comment section below. I will look when I post this. Make sure you check out the links I'll be provided in the show notes for you below this video as well. I'll link to his Facebook page as well as his YouTube channel. Make sure that you subscribe and follow him if you're on YouTube. But I highly recommend Facebook because it's very active over there and it's a lot of
Right,
fun.
right.
Billy Bob will post my articles and videos over there sometimes, and for the folks that are over there on that as well. So, and we've collaborated quite a bit with one another, and so it's just good to have him. I just felt like you were the best one to bring on to start off as my way of saying thank you for your support and helping us grow this channel and this community. And uh, it's just awesome to know that there's people like we had no idea who what each other was until we just met each other online, and now we have this friendship where when you come up to Ohio, you know, a lot of times it's hey, Bogsy, I'm going to be in Dublin or whatever. Let's go out to dinner or whatever. And so I really appreciate that,
No,
man.
I truly appreciate it, Eric, and I'm honored to actually be the first guy, and to get to, I mean, to have known you all this time, and you guys are getting up and going, and you're and you done a great job, you guys. I mean, I always say I wish I had the impetus to work as hard as Bogsy. I mean, you're like video after video, and I'm like, I can't even. Sometimes I can't even watch as many. I'm like, okay, I gotta watch them the next day. Or hey, but I got something real quick. You got one quick minute here?
Yeah,
Hold
yeah.
on. Oh, all right. So take this off. This is a guy that you've had on your show a few different times. Where are we going here? Uh, this guy right here, number 52 for the Buckeyes, Big James Cotton.
Oh yeah. Mm-hmm.
And I can't remember his first name. Cheatwood?
Well, Jimmy.
Jimmy. Yeah. So, but met James and played golf with him years ago. And
He looks
so
like he could still play football.
James is a big man.
Man.
And you know what? You always hear about how good James was, but then go watch him and you see how really good, how great James was.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, so anyway, that's just one of the many things that my my office is not like your basement, but there's a lot of Buckeye stuff.
I just added the Holy Grail to my basement.
Oh, nice.
I did. You know what I'm talking about? What Ohio State fan would call the Holy Grail.
Okay, now you're going to embarrass me.
No, one autograph that I'm like I've got to have it. I've got to get it. I've got to have it.
Well, some would say Archie,
Oh, I've got plenty of them.
Tress.
Got plenty of them. You ain't
Uh,
going back far enough.
well, Woody's not alive to sign much today, but
I
you got
got
a Woody?
I got a Woody Hayes autograph finally.
I don't have a Woody.
Oh man, there's not very many left.
I don't have a Woody.
It cost me a pretty penny, but I couldn't help it. I had a good year in 2024. Got some uh, got some bonus checks, and I told my wife, I said I'm gonna go get one. I know where one's at. A fella found it for me, and I went and took a look at it, and I was like, that's legit. It's certified. It's beautiful. It's the picture of him when it's snowing and he's in his short sleeve dress shirt and tie and snowing. But then underneath that, there's this little piece of paper that he had signed, and it's folded real nice and put in its own little box underneath the picture. And it's all plaqued and up and everything. It looks beautiful. And the paper's faded, but the autograph is clear as day. You can see it. It's beautiful, and it says "Yay Ohio, Woody Hayes," and I'm like,
Yeah.
that's it. I mean,
Woodrow
it's
Wayne
certified.
Hayes.
So I found the Holy Grail. I'm gonna put that down in the Buckeye basement, and with my Archie and my Eddie and the rest of them. I've got the Heisman Trophy winners. I got all of them. I got Spiel's autograph. I got these three up here. Orlando
AJ
Pace
Orlando and
and Ryan Miller. Yep,
Ryan Miller. Oh,
Ryan's got that one
your
autographed.
your
Yep.
cousin Ryan Miller.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I mean, I've got all the, and then I've got a bunch of the 8x11s autographed of just or 8x10 autographs going down my steps of all the most recent players. So
I got a Ryan Miller autograph
did I send that to you or did
picture.
you?
I got a Ryan Miller autograph picture. I haven't hung it yet. I got to find a place for it here. Somewhere right here. Where did I put it? But I
What's your
got it.
most what's your most cherished autograph?
Oh man. So
It's okay if you say Eric Boggs from the OHIO podcast. I won't.
I actually I'm probably ashamed to say that I had a lot of stuff that I sold over the years.
That's not. I
Not
understand
Buckeye stuff, but one of the most cherished.
because
So I got to go Bucks Tress. But one of the most would have been maybe Johnny U.
Oh, Johnny Unitas, huh?
Yeah.
You were a,
And
you were
and
a,
and
you're
ex, what's that?
you're a big Cleveland fan, so I'm sure you had some Cleveland stuff.
I actually have one thing. I don't know if it's cherished, but it's nice. It's again got to find a place to hang it.
Oh, there you
Felix
go.
Wright.
There you go.
Felix was one of the original dog pounders.
Yeah.
Um, but no, I had Johnny, and I met Johnny U. He was down in South Florida, the NFL alumni. We were involved in that, and so he signed a football for me, and then it just, I had to scale back a little bit. I got Joe Gibbs up here,
Oh, there you go.
so Coach Joe, but
Is that now
John
is that Joe Gibbs? Is that when he was coaching or is that when he was owning a race car team?
already he owned the at that time Interstate Battery, Bobby Labonte,
Mm-hmm.
and um, so, but yeah, he was racing, and but Johnny U. The interesting thing about Johnny, he had such bad arthritis in his hand that he would put a sharpie. He'd kind of hold it like this, and he'd sign his name, and you would never know that he had arthritis. I mean, you could read it. It was Johnny Unitas. I was like,
Wow,
holy crap.
that's
But,
cool.
and I met his backup. I met his backup too. I had his autograph. Earl Morrill, which also is Bob Greasy's backup. But
Hmm.
nothing Ohio State, not, I shouldn't say nothing. Tress, probably the most famous. I got another football up there. I'm trying to see. Can't think of all the guys on there. But I don't know. I don't know. It's a lot of guys, a lot of
Yep.
stuff. Um,
Good stuff, Billy Bob. It's a good
I'm
conversation, man.
I'm wasting
Appreciate you.
I'm wasting some of your minutes here,
No,
Bogfy.
you're fine,
So
buddy. Thank you so much for joining me, Billy Bob. Again, check out those links that I'll have provided for everybody in the show notes below. Go give Billy Bob a follow. I promise you'll have a good time hanging out with him in the backyard and chatting it up with a bunch of people.
I hope I appreciate that. Some days are tough talk Tuesdays aren't quite.
Hey,
They're fun
those
to
are
some people, but not
some of
to
my
others.
favorites, man. Some of
I
my
did it,
favorites.
for a while. We had the, we're going to flush them, and we had the toilet sound effects. Uh, but
Good stuff.
anyway, thanks, man. I appreciate you.
Thank you, Billy Bob. All right, everybody. As always, be kind to one another. I owe someone's OH. Sing Carmen High with all your heart. Till next time, Billy Bob. I know you what to do. You know what to do here. OH.
IO.
Go Bucks.
Go Bucks.